Sorry about that. I got interrupted and had to stop recording, so hopefully I'll figure out how to piece these two together. So we put the little fireplace here. I've got the piano bench here. I am going to go ahead and take the lamp, a little Tiffany style lamp, which I think is adorable. I'm going to put a little beacon 3-in-1 glue on this. I did not on the piano bench, and I did not put any glue on the fireplace. None were needed. It was really tight fit. I learned from experience that lamps, like, that's all that's going to be holding it is that little tiny divot. So I have just found a little bit extra glue on that will work. And then the piano is going to go right here, and we want to be really careful with that. Again, you want to press where you have some bulk. I don't know how to put that nicely. Don't press on the fragile parts. Okay. Make sure that that's down. Okay. So there we have what it looks like so far. You can see that there's footsteps, which are kind of cool. Okay, so moving right along, we are going to put together now step 13. So that's the step that we're up to, and we're going to be putting together an artist easel. I'll be right back. I'm going to pop out all of the pieces that we need to do that, and the chair and a large frame. So I'm going to kind of get us up to step 15. I'll be right back with all of those pieces. Okay, to put together the easel, we're going to start with G9, G10, and G7. So we are going to take my needle nose pliers. Sometimes these smaller pieces, they're nice and tight to get in, but I don't want to damage the piece or break the piece, and I just don't have the strength to pop it in there. There we go. So I don't know if you can see, but the reason I was having difficulty is the little tab that holds it is actually bent down slightly, and so the way it goes in is with that tab down. I was trying to put it in on the side and it wasn't going in. So like I keep saying, orientation is very key when you're putting these together, because they're not snapping together and it's taking a little bit more force than you think it should. Generally speaking, that is the reason why. Okay, so we are looking at why this is not. I'm doing something not quite right here, because the easel is supposed to lean in, and when I do that, it pops right out. So I am going to see if I've done something wrong. I'm going to put it that way. So I'm going to put the little tab that's curved, and I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to put it up and see if that makes a difference, and it does. And there we go. And so that's what it should look like, just like a little easel. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my P7000 glue. I'm going to put just 2 little drops at the very top to kind of hold this together where it won't be so noticeable, but it'll stay, I think, a little bit better if it's got a little bit of glue to reinforce it. I hope everybody's having a good week so far. I cannot believe that Asheville got snow yesterday. So my schedule got changed around this week. It's going to be a busy week. I was in the office today, Tuesday, November 11th. Tomorrow's the 12th. Once a month, we have something called a collaboration day, which is basically all of our staff that's not on some type of leave, approved leave. Everyone comes into the office, and then We try to have some type of event. Tomorrow is a favorite for everyone. I don't dislike it, but it's one of the ones that I handle most of the events in our office, and we have 90 people, and I am the events committee, so I oversee everything, make sure everything gets ordered, confirmed, and this is our Thanksgiving luncheon. The company purchases the turkey, so we go to Cracker Barrel, and we're picking up 8 pans of turkey and gravy. It's about the only place you can find cooked turkey, and I don't have a kitchen at work. Okay, so popped on the little holder for our painting, and we're going to go ahead and glue the painting on to the easel, and then the easel will be done, and that will complete step 13. So anyway, we do this Thanksgiving luncheon once a year, and as I said, it's everyone's favorite. It's a big, huge food event. Company buys the turkey, which we get from Cracker Barrel, and then everyone brings in dishes and desserts and beverages. And what's great is any of the food that is left over goes to a local mission for homeless, and so they get some extra treats, and which I think is so wonderful on so many levels, and we're very blessed that we're able to do this and to help them. This is my 12th year of doing it. So there's your easel. It's all done. It is just a lot of work. I'm glad that I'm able to do it, but I end up taking quite a bit of stuff from my personal kitchen into work, things like bowls and all kinds of stuff. And that's because people will sign up for things like corn, which is fine. I mean, there's a lot of people who don't cook, and you can bring in a can of corn, which is, there's nothing wrong with doing that. The challenge with that, however, is that we need a can opener, and we need a bowl to put it in, and it's not heated, and it has to go into the microwave to be heated. And so there's a lot of things that I bring. I bring can opener. I bring towels, to clean up with. I bring serving utensils. I bring my can opener. I bring all that stuff. So we're making a little chair now, and we're taking G3, G5, and G2. I think I'm going to go ahead. This is experience. They're saying to do G4, which is the other side, and then put on the back. I'm going to put the back on first and then put on G4. I'm not sure. I may regret it, and it may be that they're right. This is kind of loose, so we're going to see if this will work. Sometimes it's really hard to get the piece on after. I don't know. It's like my dogs. I tell you that my dogs will never do something, and then they turn around and they do it. Or I tell you that they always do something, and then they do the opposite. It's like they want to make a liar out of me, and I think this kit wants to do the same thing. So anyway, we had snow yesterday, which completely threw my week off. Last week, I think I mentioned somebody hit me and took off, and so my Thursday is going into the office for a half a day. I've got the Christmas tree to put up, and then I'm leaving the office at around 11. I am going to probably eat lunch on the road because I need to get to Landrum to go to the collision center for a quote, and then I have to hop over to a nonprofit that we have in town. They run a thrift store, and I'd like to volunteer, and they said that there's a new director there, and she's really trying to build up the mission. And they have a store. They have a little food pantry, not a food bank, but a food pantry, and they do a lot for the community. And so she needs some help with fundraising and with events and things like that. And so we're going to see how we can help her out. Okay, so there's our little chair. It's all put together. That is step 14 done. So we've completed steps 13 and 14. Now, step 15 is very interesting. It is a puzzle, and I swear to you, I just thought this was a solid piece that was made to look like a puzzle, and it's not. It is an actual puzzle. It's cut out. So we may have a couple of takes before I can actually get that together, but I'm going to do my best not to waste your time. I'll put it on pause. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take K, that's this piece of plexiglass, and they always have film, and what I do is I always just start in one corner with my tweezers. I usually use the angled ones. Grab a hold of it and you just peel. This film is on there and you can kind of see the difference. So you see how that's kind of clear and shiny and that's cloudy. If you see something that's cloudy, it means that there's film on it. You just peel it off. This is to protect the plexiglass. I bought a piece of plexiglass for an antique wicker table that my dad had given me on my front porch, and it had film on it. And like I said, it's just to really protect it from scratches and all of that. So what they want us to do now is to take a dollop of glue. I'm going to use the B7000 glue. I need to look into the resin glue. A lot of people have been talking about resin glue and really working well on plexiglass. Strong hold, dries quickly, doesn't cause a mess. So if you hear me, I'm not sick. It's a little cold in my office. I don't know about you all, but we have a cold room and a warm room. And the living room is our warmest room in the house. And my office, which was an addition, is the coldest room in the house. And so, okay. So I've glued this. I hope it's right. I think it is. So I glued this. Okay. Now this is where the tricky part is, because they want me to take B8 and glue it onto this acrylic sheet. So what happened was B8 was actually a part of this piece. So this piece is B9, and we're going to take B8 and we're going to glue it in there. I'm going to wipe off my plexiglass because I want it to remain clean. Wipe off my surface a little bit. I had a little bit of dust there. Okay. So what they're showing you, and I'm going to kind of hopefully so you can see it. Okay. So this is B8. This is the puzzle. So this frame was here. B8 was in the center. When I popped it out, I realized it's a puzzle. So I have to glue this puzzle onto this acrylic, which is making me a little nervous. I'm trying to think what glue would be the best for this. And I'm really thinking in this instance, the tacky glue, it dries clear, is the best. I think that it probably will look the best. And I actually have tacky glue that is also clear. It's the Eileen's that I like. And it's telling me, and this is what I'm struggling with, because honestly, I wouldn't have popped out the puzzle. I think I would have left the puzzle in there. But there has to be a reason why they wanted you to pop it out. And I don't know. So I'm going to go ahead. And what I'm going to do, gosh, this is making me nervous, but I'm going to go ahead and do it because this is what it's telling me to do. First of all, I'm going to make sure that my orientation is correct. Okay, so I need to make sure that everything here is correct, because if it's not, we're going to have some issues. Okay. All right, so it's telling me that the top two pieces are up there, and then the bottom has, in addition to the two pieces, some little cutouts that we're going to put something into. So this is the way it goes. I'm going to put this down. I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to say it's going to be okay. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I put a dollop of glue in there, and I'm going to take my, and this peels off your fingers. If you have sensory issues where you don't like things, you're going to probably want to wear gloves for this. I don't mind it. I just take the stuff and then I just peel it off once it's dry. Usually by the time I've done with a kit, it takes like a few days for my fingerprints to grow back. So I'm trying to, as much as I can, make this sort of neat. And I'm using this to kind of spread it out almost. I don't know. I'm almost wondering, would it be better to just, I think using my finger might even be better. I keep a roll of paper towels and I cut them into fourths, essentially. All right, that worked really good. Again, you don't have to use your fingers if you find a tool that works better, but that worked for me. Okay, so here is the puzzle. And I think this is adorable. Again, I'm really astounded by the quality of this kit and the level of detail. This kit was not an expensive kit. And I mean, I'm really impressed so far. And it takes a lot to impress me. I've done a variety of these kits, from pretty pricey to pretty inexpensive. And this kit was kind of in the middle in terms of cost. Okay. So let's see. I think I'm going to have to do this in pieces. I told you, be patient. We're going to see what we can do here. Okay. So we got most of it. But how cool is that this is an actual jigsaw puzzle? I mean, I almost kind of regret that it is and that we have to glue it down, but isn't that cool? I mean, it's a little tiny jigsaw. I love putting together jigsaw puzzles, and I have framed a few of them. My youngest bonus boy is of that age that, you know, sometimes he's in the mood to spend time with us and sometimes he's not. And I understand. We were all 17 once. And, but every time I put together a jigsaw puzzle, I don't really have to say anything. Pretty soon I find if he's visiting us that weekend that I have company to help me, and I treasure those moments because I know next year he will be graduating from high school and going off to college like his older brother and beginning that chapter of his life, and it's going to be a different season for us where we're not going to see them very often. I actually had both of my bonus boys here a couple weeks ago. We celebrated the 17-year-old's, what did we celebrate? We celebrated my birthday. My birthday was Thursday. Okay, I gotta pay attention here for 1 second. I do consider myself a master multitasker, but I think sometimes I'm just fooling myself. Okay, so that's what it looks like. That wasn't too terrible, I don't think. Hopefully it wasn't too terrible for you. And then there's a key on the back, and so you can see that this is already clear. So when it dries, I'm hoping it'll dry nice and clear and we won't have any issues. And I don't think we will. I think it'll look really nice. And like I said, I used the Eileen's tacky glue. The white bottle also dries clear. I just took the extra precaution because I had clear to use that. Anyway, so we had both boys. It was, we had not seen my oldest bonus son, who goes to the University of North Georgia. And God, since I think Easter. And so that was it was a real nice treat. We had a great visit. My fiance and I just kind of soaked it all in. We had a lot of projects we wanted to do, and the kids could have absolutely helped us with a lot of them, and we probably could have gotten a lot more done. But sometimes you have to be just present in the moment, and we were. And then they got a little cake for me that just had enough pieces for my sister and the boys, Jason and I. And they sang happy birthday to me, which was also very special. Okay, so now we're going to take B14 and we are going to pop that onto the top like that. And then we are going to take B15, which looks like that. And that goes here. And I think what I'm going to do, again, I'm just trying to reinforce things a little bit. It doesn't call for the glue, but I am going to go ahead and I'm going to put just a little bit of the Beacon 3-in-1 glue kind of on the edges of the curtains and along the top here. I want to hold it down, but I don't want it to be, I don't want glue everywhere. I don't want you to notice that I've glued it. So I'm probably dating myself, but there used to be a super glue commercial. I believe it was super glue. And it was a little dab will do you, I believe is what the saying was. And for some reason that just stays with me. So every time I tell you a little dab, I've got this silly commercial in my head from like probably the 80s. Okay. Just kind of making sure everything's lined up and is tight. It's beautiful, isn't that? I don't know per se if I would put giant like velvet curtains over a jigsaw puzzle. I thought it was a little odd that I actually framed them. And then this will slide into B11. And again, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just put a little bit of glue along the bottom piece. Not too terribly much, just a little bit. These kits, even with glue, I've got kits that I did at the very beginning in January of 2024, before I started using these kind of 3 glues religiously. And I will tell you that even just moving them and like rearranging them on my bookshelves, I've had fronts come off, I've had pieces move, not break, but just like kind of pop off, or the glue didn't hold right, and kind of find myself, you know, repairing things. And so when I can, I do try to add a little extra glue just so that I have it. Okay. So that is going to conclude most of step 15. I do need to go ahead and pop out B29, which is going to go into B10. And then I need J43, 44, 50, and 47. So I'll be right back after I've popped all those pieces out. We'll do those 2 parts, and then we'll finish up the step, and we'll be done for the night. All right, moving right along, we are going to put together the next bit of step 15. So I'm going to take B29. Its orientation goes this way, and we are going to take, I am not an artist. I don't really know much about art at all. So an artist studio is more my girlfriend's domain than mine. She's very artistic. She's very, very talented. She does all types of art. She's an avid sailor. She's very interesting, very creative. We worked together and became friends almost from the beginning. I kind of laugh and say it's because we're both from up north and got kind of transplanted into the south. She's from the Connecticut area. I'm from New Jersey originally. I'm not using glue for any of these. I think you can just see from me pressing as hard as I'm pressing that these are pretty tight fits. You'll use your judgment, like if you feel like you need to use some glue, a little dab will do you. Okay. One last piece. There we go. Just want everything to be in as much as you can. And you can kind of tell, if you can see the wood underneath there, that's how you know in there. So that's what it looks like. We've got J43, 44, 50, and 47 going into B29. Then we are going, and that's the front of it. So we're going to take the front of it and we are going to pop it onto B10. I'm going to see how this fits. I always do kind of the dry fit first and see how it fits, and if it fits well, I won't bother with glue. This is a hanging piece, and so I'm kind of debating, do I need a little bit of glue? No, I actually think that that's going to work. So that's what that piece looks like. And then we're going to take, I didn't realize there was 3 more steps. Apologies about that, but we are going to take B7, which is this piece right here. And this is actually, it's supposed to look like fabric, I think. So we're going to take this piece, and I think that this is David. Is it Michelangelo's David? Somebody in the comments let me know. Hopefully people will start to comment on my posts and they like what I'm doing. Like I said, I'm new at this. I'm not looking to be monetized or become an influencer. I'm just looking to grow an online community that's willing to come into my little cozy corner and spend some time with me putting together book nooks. And who knows, maybe we'll get to a point where we actually can do this live and build book nooks together. I think that would be a lot of fun. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and we are going to pop these into these little holes that I showed you before. There's 3 of them. And I may, yeah, I think I'm going to. What I'm going to do, which will help reinforce everything and will give me a little bit more peace of mind with all of this things dangling and hanging and whatnot. There's nothing like putting something together and then you're almost done and then you go to pop this onto a wall or wherever it's going to end up, and then it comes off or it breaks, and it's kind of just lessons learned. I'm not using a lot. I'm just squeezing out a little bit, swishing it around, and then what I'm going to do is very much right in the front. I'm just going to put a little bit there along the side. I'm going to go ahead and take this, put this back in here. And that will just, like I say, give me the peace of mind that this is going to truly stay where it belongs. So that's what that looks like. And then we're going to take, I really don't know what this is. Some of the pieces have got great detail. This, I don't know if this is a piece of artwork or if this is brushes. It looks like that. It's not very clear. And that's going to go kind of right into this little hole here. So there's a little hole in the front. And so, apologies, we're going to put this piece next. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same exact thing. The reason being is this is going to go into the back. Told you I do these late at night, so you're going to hear me say, I'm sorry, but, you know, not sorry. I'm just a little out of order. And in this instance, it does matter because, like I said, the last piece is going to go into the front, and these are kind of going into the back of the piece. Okay, there we go. Push that down. There we go. And then this final piece is not going to get any glue. It's just going to go trying to determine if I can. I believe that that's the bottom. I was just trying to figure out, is this the bottom? This piece is a little weird. I'm almost tempted to grab my extras box and dig out a piece that might look better, but we're going to put this together with some minimal personalization, and that looks pretty darn good, I think. So that is step 15, and it's completed. We are going to do step 16 tomorrow night, which is a telescope, and it looks like a bookcase and window. So we've got a bunch of pieces to put together, and then it's going to go through, it looks like, step 21-ish. and then we'll start putting stuff on walls and floors and things like that. So we're moving right along. If you're curious as to how many steps there are, we are done. We've gotten up to step 16 tonight. So there are 36 total steps, and that includes the very front piece of it. And there are 4 keys that we can kind of hide and put where we'd like them to be put. So I'm thinking about kind of where we want to put those as well. I'm thinking a good place to hide one of the keys and to kind of glue it would maybe be on the inside of the piano cover. I think that might be fun. So, because I think that would be kind of well hidden, and unless you needed, knew to look for it. We don't want it to be too obvious, but we got quite a bit done. So we've got that all done on the bottom, and then we've got this really nice piece done. And so we're moving right along. We are just a little less than halfway done with the book Nook, and we're taking our time. This kit would probably, if it were just me working on it, I would say, 5 or 6 hours total, depending on how much personalization I did. I tend to try to slow down with these because you need to enjoy it. So thank you all for joining me tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're learning something. I hope the tutorial is helpful with you putting together this kit. And I look forward to seeing you guys soon. And I wish each of you enough, and then I hope you have a great night. Take care.